Most people spend their lives running from fear, avoiding discomfort, pretending bad things won't happen until they do. And when life finally hits, they collapse. But the Stoics had a different approach. They didn't avoid fear, they rehearsed it. Premeditatio Malorum. The premeditation of evils, a daily mental exercise, a mindset training routine used by Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, where you imagine the worst, on purpose, not to scare yourself, but to free yourself. Because once you've calmly faced what could go wrong, what's left to fear? This practice doesn't make you negative, it makes you prepared. It doesn't crush hope, it builds courage. It doesn't remove pain, it removes panic. In this video, we'll explore how this ancient Stoic habit can strengthen your mind, quiet your anxiety, and make you nearly untouchable, no matter what life throws your way. Part 1. Visualize loss to cultivate gratitude. You wake up. You reach for your phone. You check your messages. Maybe scroll a little. Then the day begins, full speed. But pause for a second. What if that phone slipped from your hands today and shattered? What if you couldn't speak to someone you love, not because they're busy, but because they're gone? What if your legs didn't move this morning when you tried to get out of bed? Would you notice then what you take for granted now? The Stoics trained for this every day. Premeditatio Malorum wasn't just about preparing for war, death, or disaster. It was about opening your eyes to the fragile gifts in your hands before life takes them away. Seneca said, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." But he also believed that imagining loss was the fastest way to deepen your love for what's here. So every morning he'd ask, what if today was the last time I heard that voice? What if I lost my wealth, my health, my freedom? Could I still endure? And how would I live today differently? This wasn't a morbid obsession. It was spiritual clarity. It was radical presence. We lose gratitude because we assume things will last. The job, the relationship, the breath in our lungs. So we move through life numb, half aware, half engaged. But when you mentally rehearse loss, you wake up. Suddenly, that text from a friend, it matters. That hot shower, a miracle. That simple meal, a gift. The Stoics used imagined loss to unlock real joy. Because what is gratitude, if not the awareness that this could be gone, and yet I have it? And here's what's wild. The more you practice it, the less fear you carry. You start to think, I've already imagined losing this. I've rehearsed the pain. I've made peace with the impermanence. And from that place, fear shrinks. You become more grounded, less reactive, more aware, less entitled. You stop clutching life like it owes you something. And you begin to receive each moment with a kind of sacred attention. And maybe that's what courage really is. Not arrogance, not numbness, but the kind of quiet power that comes from saying, even if I lost this, I would still live with honor. That mindset, it changes the way you love, because you don't cling, you appreciate. It changes the way you work, because you don't assume success, you earn it daily. It changes the way you breathe, because every moment becomes a bonus, not a guarantee. Premeditatio Malorum is not about fear, it's about freedom. The kind that comes when you stop acting like anything is permanent and start treating everything like a gift on loan. So if you want to feel more grateful, don't look for more things to add. Look at what you already have. Then imagine, just for a second, that it's gone. And when you return to it, if you return to it, you'll see it with new eyes. Gratitude will rise not as a concept, but as a conviction. And your days, no matter how simple, will start to feel extraordinary. That's the power of Stoic premeditation. And that's how you begin to live wide awake. Part 2. Face worst-case scenarios. Calmly. You fear the worst. But have you ever actually faced it? Not in real life, but in your mind, calmly, deliberately, with your full attention. Most people don't. They avoid it. They distract themselves, bury it, pretend everything will just work out. But deep down, there's always that tightness, that whisper. What if it doesn't? The Stoics didn't run from that voice. They sat with it. They listened, and they rehearsed over and over again what they feared most. Why? Because fear grows in the dark. But when you pull it into the light, it shrinks. Seneca wrote, "What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpected troubles add greatly to our affliction." In other words, what breaks you isn't the pain itself. It's the shock of not being prepared. But if you've already walked through the fire in your mind, you won't panic when it shows up in real life. So how do you do this? You sit with your fears, not emotionally, but rationally. You ask, what am I truly afraid of? What's the worst possible outcome? Could I survive that? And how? Let's say you're afraid of losing your job. Don't avoid the thought. Walk through it. What happens next? You lose income. You feel shame. You face uncertainty. Okay, now go further. What would you do? You'd cut costs, look for other work, lean on your skills, reach out to people, find a way to rebuild. And suddenly the monster isn't quite so big anymore. It's still hard, still painful, but it's not paralyzing. You've prepared, you've trained. And that's what Premeditatio Malorum gives you. A mental simulation room, where you rehearse hardship before it happens, so it never controls you. Think about it like sparring. You don't fight your opponent for the first time in the ring. You train, you rehearse, you get hit in practice, so you're calm when it counts. This is no different. You're building emotional muscle memory. So when life lands a punch, your system doesn't collapse. You don't spiral, you don't freeze, you breathe, you respond. And here's the paradox. The more you rehearse adversity, the less you suffer from it. Because it's no longer a ghost haunting the back of your mind. It's a reality you've made peace with. This doesn't mean you dwell on negativity. It means you take fear by the hand and say, let's look at this together, and strip it of its power. Because once you've faced the worst, you start to realize you're stronger than you thought. You're more adaptable than you believed. You have more tools than you give yourself credit for. And you walk through life a little straighter, a little calmer. Because you know, whatever happens next, you've already seen it, and you've already survived it, in your mind. That kind of clarity makes you powerful, unshakable, because fear feeds on avoidance. But courage? Courage is born in the fire you choose to walk into, not the one you avoid. So the next time fear whispers, "What if?" don't run. Sit with it, answer it, and when you do, you'll realize you weren't fearing the future, you were fearing the unknown. And once you make it known, there's nothing left to fear. Part 3. build emotional immunity through exposure. You wouldn't walk into a freezing river without preparing your body. You wouldn't lift 200 pounds on your first day at the gym. You'd train, gradually, repeatedly. Why should your mind be any different? We talk about emotional strength like it's some mysterious gift, but the Stoics saw it as something far more practical, something you build through exposure. And that's exactly what Premeditatio Malorum trains you to do. You expose yourself to discomfort on purpose, in your mind, in your habits, in your daily actions. Because avoidance weakens you, exposure hardens you. You imagine losing what you love. You rehearse worst-case scenarios. You strip life of its soft padding so you can stand firm when it hits you hard. This isn't pessimism, it's preparation. Seneca once said, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself all the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" He practiced poverty deliberately while still rich. Not because he wanted to suffer, but because he wanted to be immune to fear. He wanted to look fear in the face and say, "I've been here before, and I'm still standing." That's what emotional immunity is. It's not about not feeling pain. It's about not collapsing beneath it. It's knowing that your nervous system has been here already, and it knows what to do. In modern life, we insulate ourselves. We chase comfort, distraction, luxury, certainty. And as a result, even the smallest disruption, a harsh word, a delayed flight, a failed plan, throws us off completely. But when you build emotional exposure into your mental routine, you raise your threshold. You desensitize your fears. You inoculate your mind like a vaccine with small doses of hardship. You think about losing. You visualize discomfort. You even practice it sometimes. Try cold showers, fasting, intentional boredom, trying something scary without needing to be perfect at it. All of this is exposure training. All of it says to your mind, "I've been through worse. I can handle this." And slowly, the fear fades. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. The Stoics didn't want you to live in fear of loss. They wanted you to lose the illusion that you couldn't survive it. You want more confidence? Expose yourself. You want resilience? Expose yourself. You want freedom from panic? Walk straight into your mental shadows. You don't have to drown in them. Just stand in the water for a moment every day, and soon it won't feel so cold anymore. This is how we build the inner strength that lasts, not through affirmations, not through avoidance, but through calculated exposure. Because a warrior doesn't become fearless by hiding from the battlefield. They become fearless by training in it, every day, deliberately, calmly. That's how Stoics become untouchable. Not because nothing hurts them, but because nothing surprises them. Part 4. Detach from outcomes. Focus on virtue. You can't control the outcome. You can prepare, plan, try, give it your best, and life might still say no. The promotion might go to someone else. The person you love might walk away. The project might fail. That's reality. And the Stoics knew it well. They didn't waste time chasing guarantees. Instead, they focused on the only thing they could fully control: their virtue, their character, their actions, their intention. Epictetus said it best: "Do not seek for events to happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do, and your life will go smoothly." Most people live the opposite way. They obsess over results. They base their peace on things they don't own: outcomes, opinions, recognition. And so they suffer. Because when you tie your worth to the outcome, you become a hostage to fortune. But when you tie it to your effort, your principles, you become untouchable. Let's say you're having a difficult conversation. If you focus only on winning the argument, you'll bend your values. You'll manipulate, you'll react, you'll lose your integrity. But if you focus on speaking with honesty, calm, and clarity, no matter what the other person does, you win internally. You walk away proud, because you lived up to your standard, not theirs. That's Stoic detachment, not apathy, not laziness, moral independence. It's showing up fully while letting go of what happens after. It's doing the right thing, even if no one sees, even if it doesn't pay off, even if it's hard. Because your peace isn't for sale. It's not dependent on the scoreboard. The Stoics believe the outcome is just the stage. What matters is how you walk on it. Seneca wrote, "The wise man looks to the purpose of all actions, not their results." That's a radical shift. From, "Will this work?" to, "Is this right?" From, "Will they like me?" to, "Did I speak with truth?" From, "Will I succeed?" to, "Did I act with courage?" You stop chasing validation. You stop gripping results. You start anchoring yourself to something higher, your values. And ironically, that's when results start to improve. Because your actions are clean, your energy is focused, your mind is calm. But even when they don't, you're okay. Because your worth isn't on the line. Your dignity isn't tied to the win. You already succeeded the moment you acted with virtue. That's the Stoic secret. They don't hope for life to go their way. They train to go their own way, no matter what life throws at them. So the next time you find yourself obsessing over the result, ask, am I acting from fear or from principle? Would I still do this if no one applauded? Can I release what I can't control and still show up with excellence? If the answer is yes, you're free. You've already won. Part 5. Live lighter by letting go. You're carrying too much. That anxiety, that need for control, that tight grip on how things should go. It's heavy, and it's costing you peace. The Stoics knew this. They saw life like a river, always moving, always shifting. And they realized, if you try to cling to every branch, every rock, every outcome, you drown. But if you let go, not in defeat, but in acceptance, you float. Letting go isn't giving up. It's recognizing what's not yours to hold, and that's freedom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." That's not apathy. It's strength. It's trusting that you can stand in uncertainty and still be whole. We think we need to control everything to feel safe. But the truth is, the tighter you grip, the more fragile you become. Every disappointment cuts deeper. Every change feels like chaos. But when you loosen your grip, when you release your expectations, you create space. Space to breathe, space to adapt, space to grow. Let go of how people should behave. Let go of needing their approval. Let go of the illusion that life will always match your plans. Instead, do what the Stoics did. Show up with full effort. Act with honor. Accept the results with calm. Because what happens after you act is not in your hands. It never was. Seneca said, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a living man." That's a metaphor for all fear. If you fear loss, rejection, failure, you'll hold back. You'll try to protect something that was never fully yours to begin with. But when you let go of outcomes, of pride, of fear, you step into real strength. You move through life lighter, less burdened, less reactive. Letting go isn't a one-time decision. It's a practice, a daily reminder. I don't control what happens. I only control how I respond, and I choose peace over panic. So the next time something doesn't go your way, don't grip harder. Let go. Breathe. Respond with calm. Act with clarity. And then, let it be. Because the moment you stop trying to control the river is the moment it begins to carry you. That's what Premeditatio Malorum teaches us. Not how to avoid hardship, but how to be ready for it. How to move through it without breaking. How to stand tall in a world that changes by the hour. Because you're not clinging to anything that can be taken. You've already let it go. And in that space, you find something better than certainty. You find peace.